This conference will now be recorded.
Okay, so guys, let us proceed. Take some time, we need to wait. Okay, so guys, we'll create a package here. Let us create a package. So basically, I'll create a class better, guys. So let's say the class name is, let's say some class name. Okay, let us take a common name itself, department, or anything you can take. Okay, let's say class name is test better. Class name is test. I'll give here package name as com.jsp dot multiple constructor. And next I'll create a class as well as I'll create a package. We have created a class by name test. Now, next, similarly, we want one configuration file. We want a configuration file, so let it happen in background. Yeah, so we'll copy the configuration file in any of the packages, and even we'll copy the app.java and we'll paste in this multiple constructor package, so that whenever we want, we can access the package along with program. Okay, so app has not been copied, app.java. Done. So let us open all the classes configuration file one by one. Okay, so first we'll open app.java. Let me delete these things not required. Let me pass the, so I'll say this as a, let's say 4 config4 file. config4.xml. Fine, let us proceed. So what is the package? Com dot first config4. Next we have to pass the package name, complete package name. So it's not demo now, it is something as multiple constructor. Multiple constructor. We'll give forward slash. Yeah. So main class is ready now. So what I'll do, I'll go for test class and
Sir, I guess config4 file is already present.
it's okay, nothing will happen because okay, it's already there. Then no problem. Because we are using different packets, no problem. Nothing will happen. If you want, you can use same configuration file. But just to remove the confusion, we are doing like that. We are doing like this. So where we have created, yes, correct. Yeah. So config file name can be same because since we are using different packets. Okay. If you want, let me give config file. But nothing will happen, guys, because since we are using different packets, so configuration file can be same for the different packets. Let me go for fast first. So I'll change it to config file. Yeah. Next, let us proceed now. Yes, we have passed the path. Yes, correct. Now, so this is done. Let us take some property here. So I'll take int x equals to 5. Okay, since I'm going to use constructor injection, so I'll declare and initialize with the constructor. So private int x, next similarly private int y. Let us take two parameters. So first I'll declare a constructor. So I'll say here public test, and I am going to pass these two arguments. If you want, you can generate the constructor automatically as well. So let's say int x comma delay my system is it slow, we need to wait. Then int y. Let's say these are the two arguments we have. So let us call the value here. So I'll say this dot x equals to x. Similarly, this dot y equals to y. Oh god, this dot x equals to x. This dot y equals to fine. So I'll generate one more constructor, guys. I'll generate one more constructor. So I'll change it to double here. I'll say double y, and similarly I'll say double x and double y. Now since this x is integer type, so I'll perform here casting. So I'll say int here, and here as well I'll say int. So yes, now we have basically two constructor. First is integer type, second is, so I'll say here int colon int, just to print, just to differentiate which constructor will be called. We'll give here constructor int. Similarly, let us give here constructor type as double. Yes, this is done. Now let us declare a method as well. So I'll say public void add, and I'll pass, I'll say public void add, and I'll say, let's say, so we need to perform the addition. So we can say here out, let me print the value of a and b as well, so that a value of a is, why I'm doing these many things you will get to know, guys, once we'll execute the program. Value of a is unnecessary, I'm not doing, don't worry. Value of a is this. Similarly, let's say value of b, so I'll change it to b. So since it is going to act as a member variable, so if you want to call member variable inside a method, you have to make use of this keyword. You remember, you know that, guys, I hope. So I'll say this dot a, this dot b. Hold on, I'm getting an error. Okay, sorry, it's x and y. It's x and y, guys. Here also x and here y. That's this out. I'll print the result. Result is, I'll say plus, again this dot x plus this dot y, because we have to call the member variable inside of method. Yes, that this this is done now. Next, what we have to do, we have to go for the configuration file, and we have to pass the value, we have to invoke the constructor. So this is my configuration file. I'll say bean control space, and I need to pass here. So I'll say here, guys, bean class equals to, and I need to pass fully qualified class name, and I'll give a name for this. So So currently I'm going to use for C schema. So let me copy paste this thing and let us change it to C here as well so that we can reduce the length of the code. See. So let me pass a fully qualified class name. So let us copy the fully qualified class name and let us pass. So guys, let's say the first entity name is nothing but test1. This is nothing but your bean name. Now I want to initialize with the help of C schema. So I'll say C colon. The first attribute is X. I hope you remember colon equals to 10. I'll give a space C colon Y equals to, let's say 10 itself. Let's say 10 itself, and I'll close this tag here itself. I'll go for self closing tag. So I'm getting an error. Why so? Let us see.
Y value, sir.
Yes, we have to pass in double quotes. Yes, the work is done. So guys, let us call the bean. So already this object will be created by application context. We are going to use class path. So let's say context dot get bean, context dot get bean, and here we have to pass. Okay, so I'll go for this particular argument. So first I'll pass here the bean name is test1, if you remember, and the class name is test dot class itself, and we'll store in a variable by test itself. So we'll say test a equals to, and we'll print the result. So these things already we discussed in last class. So guys, can you tell me here which constructor will be called? Yes, if I'll pass the value, guys, which constructor
First
will be called?
First constructor, int.
First constructor. Yeah, first constructor int will be called. So right click, let us execute, and we'll see what output we are getting. So constructor int, so we are getting fully qualified class name. So let us override to a string method as well. So I'll go to source and I'll pass here to a string method. Okay. So yes, according to us now, which constructor will be called? So currently integer type constructor will be called and will get the value. The value of x is 10 as well as value of y is 20. So better call the method also if you want, guys. So let's say a dot method name is add, so that we can perform addition as well. So you can see program execution started, constructor int call, then we are printing the value of x, we are printing the value of y, then result is 20, and since constructor is called, so the object has been returned here, so test, and then x equals to 10, y equals to 10. Now guys, let's say so currently this integer type is going to act as, yeah, integer type constructor I passed first. If I'll interchange the order, yes guys, if I'll interchange the order, then can you tell me which constructor will be called here?
int, sir.
Second
Yeah,
constructor.
guys, yes, anything else? Yeah, which constructor? Double type constructor or int type constructor, guys? Int type constructor. So guys, remember always, so here internally what we are doing, guys, yeah, basically for these two for this constructor also we are passing value as double, but internally inside this body what we are doing, we are performing upcasting, in the sense not upcasting, sorry, we are performing here casting, narrowing basically. So 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 compiler is going to consider for this constructor also, if you are going to perform here casting, then compiler will consider for this constructor also argument as int and int only, because we are performing here what, casting. So if you will pass 10.12, then internally it will be converted to 10 itself, and this value will be inserted and this constructor will be invoked. Now in case of your Spring framework. In case of Spring framework, constructor will be executed from top to bottom. Constructor will be executed from top to bottom. So guys, first which constructor we have? First we have double type. So in case of for the double type constructor, what we did internally, we are performing typecasting. We are performing narrowing, or let's say typecasting. So if we are going to pass the value as 100.20, then internally we convert it to 100 and it will pass to this constructor. Yes. So since here in case of Spring guys, execution, constructor execution is nothing but it will follow top to bottom approach. It will follow guys top to bottom. So here since we perform here casting, so even this constructor is going to act as integer type itself. Because we perform here casting guys, so this constructor will be acted as integer type itself. So whichever constructor will come first, it will be executed here. So whichever constructor guys will come first, it will be executed. So let us execute and see what output we are getting. So since it is going to follow top to bottom approach, and here we perform typecasting, so first constructor only will be executed guys. First constructor only will be executed. So let us execute now. You can see double type constructor has been called because we perform here typecasting. So automatically that whatever we are going to pass here, typecasting will happen automatically by compiler. If we'll pass 10, it will convert it to 10 point something. If we'll pass 100 point something, it will convert it to integer, and then this particular constructor has been invoked. So if you are going to change the order also, then if you are going to change the order, then first constructor, whichever first constructor we have, it will be executed. Now if I pass the value guys, let's say I'll interchange the order. And here I'll change it to 100.50, sorry 10.50, and here as well I'll say 100.50. So guys, can you tell me in this case which constructor will be called, first or second constructor?
Second, sir.
Yeah, in this case second constructor should be called. Let us execute. You can see, but automatically what happened here, typecasting has happened, so we are getting 10, but if I'll interchange guys, then automatically compiler is going to perform here typecasting, and this constructor only it will be executed, because in case of strings, constructor execution starts from top. It is going to follow basically top to bottom approach. So let us execute now and see, we will get again double itself. Now guys, what I'll do, I'll declare one more constructor. See here carefully now. I'll declare one more constructor. So let us declare guys one more constructor here. Let us declare one more constructor. So I'll keep the things as it is. And here I'm going to pass the argument as string type. String of X, and here as well as I'll pass string of Y. I'll pass a string of X and string of Y. But basically this X is expecting integer type value guys. But what we are passing guys? We are passing here string type value. Here X is expecting integer type value, but we are passing string type value. So it is throwing an error. So again here, if you want, you can perform here typecasting. So you can say, you can make use of a wrapper class. That is integer. And let's say, let us do like this once. Integer of X, will it work? Okay, no, it is not going to work. So what else we can do here? I want to convert guys. So how we can perform, guys, here? Let's say. Yeah, so we have to go for a function. You know, we have something as parse. We have something as parse function or parse keyword, you can say. Basically it's not a function, so we will say integer dot, and we will convert it into yeah, we will accept the integer and will convert into the wrapper class type of integer. So we'll say integer dot, and let's say parse int, and here we can pass the string value. So let's say what I need to do here, I need to use here x. So basically what we are doing, guys, we are accepting the input as x. So this x is nothing but integer type, and we are converting this integer type to not integer type. This x is going to act as string type, guys. See this here, this x is going to act as, just a second, guys, don't know what happened with this. Yeah, fine, that's it. So this x is what type, guys? This x is going to act as here string type. So we are taking x as string type and we are converting it into integer type. So if you want to convert string into integer, you can do like this. You can say integer, which is the wrapper class, and you can make use of a function parse int, and here you can pass the string value. Similarly, you can do for this y as well. Similarly, guys, you can do for this y as well, and here you can pass y. So basically what happened here, we have converted the string value, into integer value now, and then we are going to store in this member variable this dot x, or we are going to store in the member variable this dot y. So here I'll change, I'll say constructor is nothing but string type and string type, string colon string. So we have converted the string type into integer type, and then we are passing to the member variable value. So guys, if I'll execute this, can you tell me which constructor will be executed? If I'll execute this, can you tell me which constructor will be executed?
Int construct. No, sir, double constructor.
Okay, double constructor. Okay, so let me change the value here to, let's say, just a second. So there's so much drama is happening with my system. Yeah, I'll change it to 10, and here as well I'll change it to 100. Now tell me which constructor will be invoked here.
Double, sir.
String one, guys. Double or which one? Double. Okay, so guys, remember in case of Java, always compiler is going to give priority for string. In case of string, it will not follow any approach at all. If compiler will see if we have any string value. So if you know, guys, we can perform method overloading. Yes, we can perform method overloading, guys. But for method overloading, if I'm going to pass argument as int, so this main method won't be executed. You know that, because compiler will search main method as string type. So same thing is going to happen always in case of Java, or in case of Spring, or whatever. In case of Java, you can say always compiler will give priority for the string. So in case of string, it will not follow top to bottom approach. In case of string, guys, it will not follow top to bottom approach because string is nothing but non-primitive. So in case of non-primitive, you can say in case of non-primitive data type, it will not follow top to bottom. In case of primitive data type, yes, it will follow top to bottom constructor execution. So here we are passing value as integer only. We are passing value as integer only, but internally compiler will call, yes, internally compiler will call this constructor itself. This construct, okay, not this, yeah, this constructor itself. Let us execute and see. So remember, in case of string or non-primitive data type, it will not follow top to down execution. You can see, guys, which constructor has been invoked? Constructor type constructor has been, sorry, string type constructor has been invoked. So can I say, guys, here we are going to face ambiguity problem. Here compiler is confused which constructor I should call. If there is primitive type, then whichever will come first, it will be executed. But if we are going to pass string, here compiler is confused. Yes or no, guys? Here compiler is confused. Shall I call first constructor or shall I call a string type? So you can see if there is primitive and non-primitive, then first non-primitive type constructor has been called. But if there is no non-primitive type, then it will follow top to bottom approach. So guys, how to solve this problem? Yes, how to solve this problem? Yes, so to solve this problem, guys, we have to do a small change. We have to do a small change here. That is, yeah, let's say if we are going to treat, so by default, as I said, since we are passing this x as x in double quotes, it is going to treat as string. It is going to treat as string. So what we can do, we can specify here. If you want to treat this x, this 10 as integer, then here you can say type. Here you can say type equals to. Here you can say type equals to integer. Here you can say type equals to integer. So by default, yeah, by default, guys, this is going, this 10 will act as string because we are passing in double quote. So here we can't use C schema, guys. In this case, we can't use C schema. We have to go for our normal thing. So let us close this. So C schema or P schema is not applicable everywhere. So let me make use of that constructor arg. Yeah, I need to pass one more property. So constructor arg, you can go for with value as attribute value. So I'll pass here. Let's say first I'm going to pass here value. So value equals to 10. Here also let's say value equals to, let's say 100. 10 and 100. And here if you want to treat this 10 as 10, yes, if you want to treat this 10 as integer, then you can specify here type equals to, and here you can say, let's say integer. And if you want to specify this 100 as integer only, then you can say int. So in this case, what will happen, guys? Yes, compiler will get to know. Yes, compiler will get to know this first value 10 is integer type. Second value 100, it is again integer type. So if you are going to specify like this, yes, compiler will get to know that user is passing value as 10. This 10 is integer type. Similarly, this 100 is integer type. So again, in this case, okay, again I'm getting an error. Why so? Just a second, guys.
Value of 100 should be in double quotes, sir.
Okay. Yes. So this time compiler will get to know and it will execute the constructor which is accepting integer and integer argument. So in this case it will not follow top to bottom. By default, remember guys, by default, yeah, let me give a point. By default it will follow. By default it will follow top to bottom. Yeah, by default guys, you can say it will follow. By default it will follow top to bottom, top to bottom, but always string type will be executed first. Yes, in case of string guys it is exception, so that's what I'm telling, but always string type will be executed first. But you see here, now in the configuration file you have specified that this type is int and int, so it will, so in this case compiler will search which, in this case compiler will search which constructor is accepting integer type. So it will always start the search from top itself. So here no, here yes. So here compiler will get to know this particular constructor is accepting integer type. So this constructor will be invoked. This particular constructor will be invoked. Yes. So let us execute and see the output, guys. Yes, you can see here integer type constructor has been invoked. Here integer type constructor has been invoked. Now, if you want to invoke double type constructor, then you can specify here explicitly. So you can say here, you can say double, and even here you can pass double itself. Now again compiler will search, will start from the first constructor, will search which constructor is accepting double type. So in this case, double type constructor will be executed. Yes. Similarly, you can specify like this. So like this guys, by specifying the type, we can solve the ambiguity or diamond problem. Yes, by specifying the type, we can solve the ambiguity or diamond problem. Yes. Now guys, now one more thing. One more thing I want to add. Now let's say we are passing here two value. We are passing here two value. That is the value of x and the value of y. So automatically the first argument will be considered as value of x itself. Second argument will be considered as value as y itself. So for x, this 10 will be assigned. This 10 will be assigned. For y, this 100 will be assigned. So if you'll execute, you can see guys, the value of 10, the value of x is 10 and the value of y is 100. Let us execute. You can see the value of x is 10 and the value of y is 100. Even I want to change the order. In the sense, I want that this value, whatever we are passing, this x should be the value of y. This 10 should be the value of y. Similarly, this 100 should be the value of x. So what I need to do guys, I want to change the order. In the sense, I want to say to the compiler, so by default for this x will be assigned, x value will be assigned, and here y will be assigned. But what I want the value of y should be 10 and the value of x should be 100. So what we have to do, we have to specify the index position. If you want to change it guys, we have to specify the index position. Now you know index position always starts from 0. Index position guys always starts from 0. So what I'll do, again I'll make use of I'll pass here index equals to, let's say if you want to assign this index as 1, so now this automatically this value 10 will be stored at the index position 1. So at the index position 1, guys, what we have y. Similarly, you can assign for this also, you can say index equals to 0. So like this also, like this you can interchange the value of an property in case of string. So you can say index equals to 1, index equals to 0. So here the y value will be 10 and x value will be 100, guys. Let us execute and analyze the things. Okay, we are getting some error. Let us see what is that error first. Line 14 XML. Okay, this column of 15 index. Some mistake, guys. Let's see what it is. Okay, so again we have to pass, guys, in double quotes. Each and everything we have to pass in double quotes. Because we are passing the value for attribute, so we have to pass in double quotes. And it will be treated as string. Yes, you can see we have interchanged the order. So currently x is, the value of x is 100 and the value of y is 10. So like this, guys, you can proceed and you can solve this ambiguity problem. Yes, like this you can proceed and you can solve this ambiguity problem. So guys, is it clear how we can solve? So we can solve this ambiguity problem by specifying type keyword. By specifying, guys, type keyword here. And if you want to interchange the value, like in place of x, if you want to assign y, in place of y, if you want to assign x, then you can make use of this index. Yes, is it clear, guys? So like this, you can solve ambiguity problem. Guys, clear?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So just execute it fast. Just execute this program fast, guys, and see you're getting the expected output or not. Guys, copy each and everything in your notes neatly. So guys, is it done? Guys, done? Have you executed?
Done, sir.
Okay. So this is all about the two types of injection we have learned, that is property injection and next is constructor injection. Yes, done everyone. Fine guys, then I'll proceed. If you are not going to respond, let us proceed. Yeah. So next very important topic we have to learn here, that is your life cycle, or let's say, yeah, life cycle of bean. So guys, we have learned in case of hibernate, we have life cycle of hibernate object. In case of servlet also we have learned there is a life cycle of servlet. So same way guys, there is a life cycle of bean as well. So first thing guys, now who is going to create bean, or who is going to create the object? Yeah, who is going to initiate, who is going to
IOC
create a bean?
container.
Yes. So first guys, what will happen? Bean life cycle is managed by IOC container. Yes, no doubt, bean life cycle guys, it will be managed by IOC container. Now, whenever we are going to execute the program for the first time, then what will happen? IOC container will be started. So first, the time you will click on the run button, IOC container will be started. After that, the container is going to create. It is going to create an instance of bean. Then once the container started, like once the container starts execution, then it will create an instance of bean as per the request, as per the request. So once object is created, then guys, the dependency are injected. So first IOC container will be started, then it will create an instance, that is will create a bean object. Then for that bean property will be injected. For that bean you can say dependencies are injected, and once we will utilize these beans, then bean will be destroyed by IOC container. Then finally bean will be destroyed by IOC container. So guys, first thing, the time will click on the run button, or the time will start the execution of program. So first IOC container will be started. Yes, first IOC container will be started, and it will create a object, or let's say one object of bean will be created, and then whatever property or whatever dependency we want, it will be injected by, yeah, it will be injected by IOC container itself. So once property has been injected, then what we will do guys, next we are going to make use of that bean. So that is, first we will access the functionality of the bean, then at last that bean will be destroyed by IOC container. That bean will be destroyed by IOC container. So basically if you remember guys, in case of servlet, if you want to initialize, a servlet object, which method will be called? Yes, in case of servlet, if you want to initialize servlet object, which method will be called? You forget guys. So here basically init method will be called. Basically here init method will be called in case of servlet. And if you want to destroy the object of servlet, we know destroy method will be called. What is happening now? Yeah. Then basically one destroy method will be called. In same way guys, in same way, whenever IOC container, whenever Just a second. Something wrong with this writing pad. Yes. So same way, guys. Same way, once IOC container will start the execution, internally it calls init method. Internally it calls init method. So what init method will do? So first, obviously, what will happen, guys? First, IOC container will create the object. First, once the IOC container will started, it will create the object. Then internally init method will be called to set the properties. And after setting the property, we will access that IOC, like we will access the bean, we will make use of that bean, and later we will destroy the bean. So these many things is going to happen. So first IOC container will start its execution. Then yeah, after that it will create an object. So internally it is going to call your init method, and then all the property will be set. All the property, guys, will be set for this bean object, and once we have set the property, we will utilize that bean. So after that, destroy method will be called, and the bean whichever we have created, it will be destroyed. The bean whichever we have created, it will be destroyed. But before destroying the bean, it will perform cleanup activity. It will perform code cleanup activity. So in the sense, let's say if any connection is associated with that object, that connection will be closed. And if something is there in object, so first that bean object will be dereferenced. So guys, you can say the life cycle is going to work like this. So first, just a second. Yeah. So once guys, IOC container will start the execution, one bean will be created. So one object of bean, or let's say bean, has been created. So red line, you can see bean object has been created. It is going to represent. So yes, so once the bean is created for the particular bean, so you know guys, you will say class A. For this class A, you will say X and Y. For this class A, you will say X and Y. So first the object of A will be created, then the property X and Y will be injected here. Then property X and Y will be injected, and then property will be initialized. Once the property has been injected, then property value will be initialized, and once the property value is initialized, it is ready to use. Now after that, once we have utilized that bean, then internally destroy method will be called. Internally IOC container is going to call destroy method. In case of your core Java, garbage collector will call finalize method, and it will destroy the object. But in case of your Spring, guys, IOC container internally calls the destroy method. So destroy method will be called. Before that, so once the destroy method is called, it is going to perform code cleanup activity. Once the destroy method is called, it performs basically code cleanup activity. So guys, in case of your core Java, who now garbage collector is responsible to destroy the object. Yes, in case of your Java, garbage collector is responsible to destroy the object, but internally garbage collector calls finalize method. Yes, internally garbage collector calls finalize method to destroy the object, to not basically to destroy the object, basically to perform code cleanup. Same thing, guys, in case of your Spring, first IOC container will call destroy method. And this destroy method will perform code cleanup activity. In the sense, whatever connection is established with the particular object, that connection will be closed. So once all the connection is closed, then automatically that object will be destroyed. Automatically, guys, that object will be destroyed. So once again, I'll explain the flow, guys. What is going to happen? So first, the time you will click on run button. The time you will click on run button, IOC container. IOC container will start its execution. IOC container will start its execution. So once IOC container will start its execution, first task it will do, first task is done by IOC container is that it will create a bean object. It will create a bean object. So once IOC container has started, it will create a bean object. So once the bean object is created, so for a class, you will assign some property, let's say XY. So that property will be injected here. Just property, guys. Once object is created, just the property will be injected. After the property is injected, then the value for this property will be initialized. So how the value will be initialized? By calling init method. By calling init method, the value of each property will be initialized by IOC container. The value of each property will be initialized by using IOC container. So once the value is initialized or passed, then that bean is ready to use. Then that bean is ready to use. Now you can access that bean to perform your functionality. So the time you are going to access this bean, so this bean is associated with many things. It might be associated with some other object, or it is associated with like, let's say, some connection. So if you want to, so internally what will happen, destroy method will be called. Internally destroy method will be called to close all this connection or to perform code cleanup activity. Once all this connection has been closed or code cleanup activity has been performed, automatically this IOC container will destroy the object. IOC container will destroy the object. So this is the complete life cycle of Spring Bean. This is the complete life cycle of Spring Bean, guys. So let's say with one more diagram here, basically. So let's say what will happen, guys. Just a second. Yeah. So first container will be started. First your IOC container will be started. Then bean will be initialized. Bean will be initialized, and then your dependency will be injected. Initialize in the sense object will be created. You can say object will be created. Then whatever dependency is there, it will be injected for the particular bean. Now internally it will call your init method. Once the property, or let's say once the dependency has been injected, IOC container will call your init method. So you know what this init method will do? It will pass the value. Let's say we have variable as x, then value will be assigned. Then once the value is assigned, then what will happen, guys? Whatever methods we have declared, whatever utility method we have, that will be utilized. That will be utilized. Then later, guys, basically internally IOC container will call destroy method, and it will perform code cleanup. It will not destroy the object, guys. Object will be destroyed by will be destroyed by IOC container itself. But here, before destroying the object, IOC container calls destroy method, which will perform only the code cleanup activity. Once the code cleanup activity is done, then your IOC container will destroy the object. This is the complete life cycle of your Spring Bean. So I explained you the life cycle of Spring Bean by using these two diagram, guys. Yeah, like how the flow is going to work. Now we have here two methods, guys. So we have here two methods, that is init method and next is destroy method. We have init method and destroy method. If you want, you can call these methods explicitly. The way we have seen in case of servlet class, we have called init method, destroy method, we have created an object by using default constructor. Here also you can demonstrate it. So the return type of signature will be public void init. The return type will be public void init. For destroy also, guys, like the signature will be public void destroy. So basically we have here two methods, guys. If you want to perform, if you want to demonstrate this bean life cycle explicitly, then what you have to do? So obviously this object will be created by IOC container itself. So you have to call which method? So public void destroy. Oh, not destroy, guys. You have to call first init method. So public void init. So now what this method will do? It will assign value for the property. It will assign the value for property, or let's say it will assign the value for the variables, and then you will utilize it, and later you will call void destroy method. So destroy method will just perform code cleanup activity and the object will be destroyed. So guys, let's say we have init method and destroy method. So you can change the method name. Instead of init method, you can pass ABC. Instead of init method, you can pass ABC. Instead of destroy method, you can pass any name. You can pass dinga, dingy, whatever you want. But method signature should remain same. Yes, but method signature should remain same. In the sense, you can change the method name. Instead of init, you can give dinga, dingy, manga, mangi, sundar, sundari, whatever you want. But method signature will remain same. In the sense, we have to use public void and we are not supposed to pass any argument. We are not supposed to pass any argument, but we can change the method name. So each and everything, whatever we have discussed, you can see in the document, guys. So first thing, what do I discuss? So bean life cycle is managed by IOC container and all. Next, if you want to execute some source of code, these things also we explained. Then I gave one, then this thing also we explained, guys. Then I gave a note here. We can choose a custom method name instead of init. That's what we can change the method name from init to dinga dingy, whatever you want, and destroy method. But method signature should remain same. But method signature, guys, will remain same. Now, similarly, with the help of this diagram also, we discussed what is going to happen. So first, IOC container started, bean object will be created, property will be assigned, then property will be initialized, then bean is ready to use. After that, once we will utilize the bean, destroy method will be called by IOC container, which will perform code cleanup activity, and at last, object will be destroyed by IOC container. So these things we have learned, guys, theoretically. Now we have to see these complete procedure practically now. So before that, guys, please copy down these points. Yes, we'll see the things practically, guys, but before that, copy down these points. If you have any doubt, meanwhile, you can ask. If there's no doubt, guys, then copy down these points. We'll see the program for the life cycle of Spring Bean. Yes, guys, copy down little fast. So guys, is it clear? Yeah, is it clear, guys? Life cycle of bean, is it clear for everyone? Okay. So guys, done. Copy it, everyone.
Done, sir.
Okay. So guys, now, so basically we know in case of Spring, if you are going to write any program, so we have to do the configuration. Yes, we have to do the configuration. So in case of Spring, life cycle configuration can be done in three different ways. In case of Springs, guys, life cycle of bean can be done, or configuration of life cycle bean can be done in three different ways. The first way is by using XML, next way is by using Spring interface, and third way is by using annotation. So we have to see this life cycle of bean in three different ways. So first we'll see by using XML, next we'll go for Spring interface, then annotation. So we'll discuss each and every way programmatically one by one. So guys, take down next small point, like small subheading, and copy down these three ways that you can see at last. Life cycle of bean can be configured in three different ways. Just copy down this point. Okay. So guys, for today we'll keep this much only. So we'll see the program in next class. Yes, today we'll keep this much only, guys. We'll see the program, like how to configure the life cycle of bean in three different ways in next class, that is on Monday. Fine guys, so for today we'll keep this much only. Clear guys, whatever we discuss, any doubt up to here?
No, sir.
Okay, so actually guys, we have a meeting, so we'll stop here today. We'll continue in Monday's class. So fine. Okay guys, fine. Thank you everyone. Study the things properly. If you are facing a difficulty, let me know guys. Fine then, we'll stop here.